Have you ever noticed how, as the years go by, your heart becomes quieter, but also wiser? After 60, life slows down, but the emotions run deeper. You begin to treasure the calm over the noise, sincerity over formality, and peace over performance. It's a beautiful season where you finally have the right to choose what truly matters, and more importantly, who truly matters. But here's the hard truth. Not every loved one brings love. Some bring guilt, stress, or even quiet sadness that you've carried far too long without saying a word. Have you ever left a family gathering feeling more drained than uplifted? Or answered a phone call only to regret picking up? It's not your fault. You've spent a lifetime putting others first, raising children, caring for aging parents, holding a family together. But now it's your time to protect your energy, to choose relationships that bring warmth, not weight, to recognize that growing older doesn't mean tolerating more, it means knowing better. So today, let's gently explore something that might feel uncomfortable, but is absolutely necessary. The 6 types of relatives you may need to distance yourself from after 60, not out of bitterness, but out of love. Love for your peace, your health, and the beautiful years still ahead of you. Number 1, the drama queen, the relative who creates a storm in a teacup. Have you ever experienced the exhausting whirlwind of a midnight phone call where you are met not with gentle concern, but with a barrage of complaints and exaggerated woes? As we embrace our golden years, it's important to recognize that our well-being is precious, and protecting our emotional space becomes paramount. You deserve peace and tranquility, not the constant emotional turbulence stirred up by a relative who thrives on drama. Imagine this. The clock strikes midnight and your phone rings. On the other end, someone you consider family starts venting relentlessly about every little inconvenience, turning minor setbacks into monumental crises. It's as if their sole purpose is to attract attention and control the atmosphere with their heightened emotions. They might call repeatedly, using each conversation as a stage to display their discontent, leaving you feeling drained and questioning your own ability to provide comfort. Have you ever wondered why, after such calls, you feel more burdened than cared for? Scientific insights back up this everyday struggle. According to Harvard Health, older adults who live in high-stress environments are more prone to inflammatory diseases, heart issues, and even cognitive decline. The emotional strain caused by these dramatic interactions can have real physical consequences on your health. Isn't it time to prioritize your own well-being and create boundaries that nurture your body and spirit? So what can you do when faced with such relentless drama? One effective strategy is the gray rock technique, a method that involves giving short, unemotional responses to reduce the dramatic effect of the conversation. By offering minimal reactions, you gradually discourage your relative from seeking the emotional storm they seem to crave. Over time, they may even lose interest in trying to stir up trouble, allowing you to reclaim the peace you deserve. However, applying the gray rock technique isn't always easy, especially when emotions run high. It might feel like you are sacrificing a bit of empathy or warmth, but remember, your health and serenity come first. Instead of confronting them with harsh words, gently steer the conversation away from topics that cause turmoil. For example, you might say, "These days I find that my health is much better when I avoid unnecessary worries. I understand your concerns, but let's focus on something positive." This simple shift not only diffuses the situation, but also subtly reinforces that you are choosing a more balanced path for your own life. It is also worth considering that such dramatic behavior may stem from unresolved issues or personal insecurities. While it's important to maintain compassion, it's equally crucial to protect your own energy. You have spent a lifetime caring for others, and now is the time to care for yourself. Your emotional space should be a sanctuary where you can enjoy the serenity of your later years without the constant interference of unwarranted drama. Moreover, this gentle yet firm approach can serve as a wake-up call for your relative. When you respond in a calm and composed manner, it subtly communicates that you are not the easy target they once thought. Over time, this might encourage them to reflect on their behavior and perhaps seek healthier ways to express their feelings. Imagine a future where your conversations are filled with mutual understanding and respect, rather than the explosive outbursts that once dominated your interactions. In the grand tapestry of life, especially in our later years, every relationship should contribute positively to our well-being. You deserve relationships that uplift you, that add to the joy and comfort of your daily life. Isn't it time to gently let go of the unnecessary drama and embrace a life filled with calm and contentment? So as you navigate through the delicate balance of family ties and personal peace, remember, setting boundaries is not an act of rejection, but a loving act of self-care. Embrace the wisdom that comes with age, and let your heart be the guide in choosing what and who truly deserves a place in your life. Your peace of mind is your greatest treasure. Cherish it, nurture it, and allow it to flourish. Number 2, the money leech, the relative who borrows without boundaries. You've worked hard your entire life. Every dollar saved, every late night spent worrying about bills, every sacrifice made. It was all for a sense of security, especially now, when peace of mind matters more than ever. But what happens when someone in your own family quietly chips away at that hard-earned stability? Not with malice, perhaps, but with a constant stream of requests, excuses, and emotional manipulation that leaves you feeling both guilty and used? It starts subtly. "Can I borrow just a little until next week?" they might say. Or worse, "You know how much you mean to me. I wouldn't ask if I wasn't desperate." And because your heart is generous, because you love them, you say yes again and again. But slowly you begin to notice the pattern. The money doesn't come back. The gratitude fades. And instead of relief, you're left with anxiety, wondering how many more times they'll ask, and how many more times you'll feel too guilty to say no. But here's something you may have forgotten in all your kindness. Your retirement is not a community chest. Your savings are not a bottomless well to be tapped for every whim or poor decision someone else makes. According to Genworth's 2024 financial data, nearly 65% of older adults in the U.S. will struggle to fund even 3 years of long-term care, simply because they gave too much away, too freely, for too long. That statistic is more than just a number. It's a quiet warning, because financial strain in later life doesn't just affect your bank account. It touches everything: your freedom, your dignity, your ability to choose the kind of care and comfort you deserve. And too often, the culprit isn't some distant scam. It's someone close to home, someone you trusted. So how can you protect yourself without losing your compassion? It begins with clarity. Create a clear retirement budget and set boundaries around what you're willing and able to give. Consider having a giving limit each year, even if it's just a small emergency fund for relatives. That way, when the request comes, you already have a kind but firm line to point to. No drama, no guilt. And don't be afraid to offer help in other forms. You might say, "I can't give cash, but I can help you find a financial advisor." Or, "I'll support you emotionally, but I need to protect my savings." These are not cruel responses. They are wise and rooted in self-respect. You've spent decades building a life. You've earned every moment of peace, every ounce of independence. Letting someone drain your finances out of obligation or fear does not honor that life. It diminishes it. And remember, being generous should never cost you your peace of mind. In the end, real love respects limits. The people who truly care for you will understand when you say, "I need to take care of myself now." And those who don't, perhaps were only ever taking, not truly sharing. So if you've ever felt a quiet unease after giving away money you couldn't afford to lose, or a heaviness in your chest when a certain phone number pops up asking for just a little help, know this: it's okay to pause. It's okay to say no. And it's more than okay to protect the beautiful, secure life you've worked so hard to create. Because you matter. Your future matters. And after all you've given this world, you deserve to live the rest of your days with dignity, peace, and enough left in your pocket and heart for yourself. Number 3, the always right relative, the one who believes you're always wrong. There's a certain heaviness that settles in your chest when you're constantly made to feel small, especially by someone who's supposed to be family. You've lived over 6 decades, faced life's highs and lows, built resilience through every scar and every smile. And yet, here is someone who still talks to you as if you know nothing at all. You recognize the tone. It's the condescending chuckle when you share your opinion, the sideways glance when you talk about how you manage your health, your home, or even how you choose to spend your time. They interrupt, they correct, they just want to help. But somehow, every conversation leaves you doubting yourself. Have you felt that quiet frustration? That sting of being dismissed, even when your experience could fill volumes? This kind of relative doesn't raise their voice. They raise doubts. You still eat that? That's not good for your heart. Or worse, at your age, you should really let others make the decisions. Their words come coated in concern, but underneath lies a quiet erosion of your confidence. It's what psychologists call gaslighting, and it can have real emotional consequences, especially in older adults. According to the American Psychological Association, constant invalidation from others can lead to feelings of confusion, low self-worth, and even mild depression. And for someone like you, who has lived, loved, worked, and given so much, being treated like you're incapable is not only hurtful, it's unfair. But here's the truth they often forget. You've made it this far for a reason. You have wisdom that no textbook can teach. You know what works for your body, your mind, and your life better than anyone else. So when someone acts as though you need constant correction, remind yourself, it is not you who needs fixing. It is their inability to accept that you are still growing, still choosing, still strong. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to argue or raise your voice. Your quiet clarity is your power. When they insist they know better, you can simply say, I hear you, and continue doing what you know is right for you, because you don't need to prove anything. Living with confidence and calm is proof enough. It might help to create emotional boundaries. Not walls, but gentle fences. You can listen without absorbing. You can acknowledge their concern without letting it rewrite your story. And when you feel that familiar sting of doubt rising, pause and ask yourself, do I really believe this, or am I just reacting to their voice? Remember, you are not less because you are older. You are more aware, more thoughtful, more in tune with what truly matters. And anyone who makes you feel otherwise doesn't see the full richness of who you are. Let their words roll off you like water off stone. Let your own voice grow stronger inside. Because no matter how often someone tries to make you question your choices, the deepest truth is this. You have the right to live life on your own terms, fully, freely, and with pride in everything you've become. Number 4, the guilt tripper, the relative who weaponizes love. There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't come from harsh words, but from carefully chosen ones, wrapped in affection, designed to make you feel like you've failed. It's subtle, sometimes even gentle, but it cuts deep. Have you ever heard something like, I guess I'm just not that important to you anymore? Or, when I was your age, I never would have let my parents feel this way. If so, you know exactly what it feels like to be caught in the grip of a guilt trip. You've likely spent most of your life caring for others, your children, your spouse, your siblings, maybe even your parents. You've given your time, your strength, and your love without keeping count. So why, now that you finally have a chance to rest and recharge, do some people still make you feel like it's never enough? Guilt is a powerful tool. When used lovingly, it keeps us accountable. But when used manipulatively, especially by someone close, it becomes emotional quicksand, quietly pulling you under, making you feel selfish for wanting space or weak for needing rest. And in your golden years, that's the last thing you should carry. According to mental health experts at A Place for Mom, unprocessed guilt in older adults is linked to sleep disruptions, poor eating habits, and even chronic health issues. It wears on the mind and body like a slow, steady drip, eroding your confidence, your joy, and your ability to enjoy life on your own terms. Have you ever gone to bed thinking, did I do enough? Was I too distant? That's not peace. That's emotional fatigue. But here's something powerful. You are allowed to set boundaries without guilt. Love doesn't mean endless sacrifice. It doesn't mean abandoning your needs to meet someone else's expectations. Love, especially in this chapter of life, should flow both ways, gently, respectfully, and without pressure. If someone tries to make you feel bad for not calling every day, or for missing a gathering, or for simply putting your well-being first, you can respond with calm clarity. You might say, I appreciate everything we've shared, and I love you, but I need to take care of myself too. You don't owe an explanation for every decision that brings you peace. And if that still feels hard, because guilt is often deeply rooted, remind yourself of this truth. Saying no to emotional manipulation is not rejecting love. It's honoring your emotional health. It's protecting your capacity to give love freely, not out of obligation. You've reached a point in life where your time and energy are more valuable than ever. Every moment matters, and the people who truly care for you won't ask you to trade your peace for their comfort. They will meet you halfway. They will understand when you say, I'm doing what's best for me right now. So the next time someone tries to stir that familiar ache of guilt in your chest, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, you have given enough, loved enough, and shown up enough. Now it's time to love yourself enough to say no, with grace, with strength, and without shame. Because real love doesn't demand suffering, it invites joy. And at this stage in life, you deserve joy without condition, connection without pressure, and rest without guilt. Number 5, the toxic caretaker, the relative who helps to control you. At first, it may feel like love, like care, like someone is finally stepping in to make your life easier. They bring groceries, schedule appointments, drive you to the doctor, maybe even say things like, you don't have to worry about a thing. We've got it all handled. And part of you is grateful, deeply grateful. After all, isn't this what family is supposed to do? But slowly, something shifts. Decisions are made without your input. Your favorite foods disappear from the fridge, replaced by healthier options they chose. Medical appointments are rescheduled, and you find out only after the fact. You mention something you'd like to do, and you're met with, that's not necessary anymore. Or, we've already taken care of that for you. And just like that, your independence, so precious and hard-won, begins to slip away. It can be confusing, because on the surface, they're helping. They're showing up. They may even say they're doing everything for your own good. But deep inside, you start to feel invisible, like a project to be managed instead of a person to be respected. Have you ever felt that quiet loss of control, even when surrounded by people who say they love you? According to seniorsite.org, the feeling of being overly controlled, especially under the guise of care, can lead to deep emotional withdrawal in older adults. It's not just frustrating, it's demoralizing. Because when someone takes away your right to choose, they take away a piece of your dignity. But here's the truth you must never forget. You are still capable. You are still wise. You still have the right to make decisions about your own life. Needing support doesn't mean giving up autonomy. So how can you navigate this delicate situation? Start with one powerful, gentle sentence. I appreciate your help, but I still need to be the one making the final decisions. You can involve them, yes, but make sure your voice is the one that leads. When someone tries to override your wishes because it's easier, remind them. You're not here to be managed. You're here to be respected. You might also consider bringing in a neutral, trained professional, such as a licensed caregiver or a geriatric care manager. These individuals are trained to support your needs while honoring your independence. And sometimes, just knowing you have an advocate who isn't emotionally entangled can bring a deep sense of relief. Let's be clear, receiving help is not weakness, it's wisdom. But help should never feel like control. Support should never come at the cost of your self-worth. So if you felt yourself shrinking in the presence of someone who knows what's best, if your preferences have been pushed aside under the name of love, it's okay to reclaim your voice, to remind those around you that you are still the author of your own story. You've lived too long, survived too much, and grown too wise to have your life rewritten by someone else. You deserve to be consulted, not managed, to be heard, not hushed. And most of all, you deserve to be treated not as a burden, but as a whole, thinking, feeling human being. Because this chapter of life is still yours. And no matter who's offering to take care of things, never forget, you are the one who gets to choose how the story goes from here. Number 6, The perfect image relative, the one who makes you feel not enough. There's a strange kind of loneliness that can happen even in the middle of family, especially when you're surrounded by smiles that feel rehearsed, success stories that sound like speeches, and relatives who seem more interested in looking happy than being real. They share photos of grand vacations, flawless homes, children with perfect achievements. They smile brightly at family dinners and say things like, "You should see what we just bought," or, "At your age, I was already managing two businesses." They may not mean to hurt you, but somehow every word feels like a mirror held up to your life, and you start to wonder, have I fallen behind? Did I not do enough? It's the quiet sting of comparison. It creeps in slowly. You might begin to question your choices, your pace, your accomplishments. You might look around at your more modest life and think, maybe I should have done more. Maybe I should have been more. But here's the truth that no one ever says loud enough. Your worth is not measured by milestones or material things. You are not behind. You are not less. You are living a different journey, and it's one filled with quiet strength, sacrifice, and deeply meaningful moments that may never make it to social media, but shape the world around you all the same. Psychology today has shown that constant exposure to others' highlight reels can decrease dopamine and lead to feelings of low mood and self-doubt, especially in older adults who are already navigating so many transitions. But these perfect portrayals are rarely the full story. Behind the curated posts and picture-perfect updates, there are always struggles, insecurities, and imperfections no one wants to show. So what can you do when someone in your circle constantly projects a life that feels impossibly ideal? First, take a deep breath and step out of the comparison trap. Remind yourself that you have nothing to prove. You've already given this world your best through your work, your love, your care for others, your resilience. What you've built may not be flashy, but it is deeply, undeniably real. Next, try shifting your focus inward. One powerful way to do this is by starting a simple gratitude practice. Each morning, write down 3 things you're thankful for. They don't have to be grand. Maybe it's a warm cup of tea, a phone call with an old friend, or the feeling of sunlight on your skin. Over time, this gentle habit rewires your brain to look for beauty in the present, rather than constantly measuring it against someone else's life. And if that perfect image relative starts another round of, "Look what I've done," at the next gathering, smile and wish them well. But know this, you don't have to compete. You don't have to match them. You don't even have to explain your life. Because real fulfillment doesn't come from how things look. It comes from how deeply you've lived and how gently you've loved. You've earned the right to live free from pressure, to celebrate your own rhythm, and most of all, to let go of any voice, internal or external, that tells you you're not enough. Because you are, just as you are, always have been, always will be. So here we are, dear friend. After walking through the 6 types of relatives who may be quietly draining your energy, one truth stands tall. You deserve peace. Not performance, not pressure, not guilt, just peace. It's never easy to admit that some of the people closest to us may not always be good for us. And it's even harder to choose distance or boundaries when your heart has spent a lifetime giving, forgiving, and showing up for others. But let me gently remind you, setting limits is not selfish. It's sacred. It is an act of self-respect, and a way of saying, I still matter. My feelings still count. You've come so far. You've lived through joys and heartaches, victories and losses. You've supported others through seasons when you were barely standing yourself. Now it's your time. Your time to protect what's left of your energy. Your time to create space for stillness. Your time to surround yourself only with people who nourish your soul, not drain it. Ask yourself, what if these years ahead could be your most peaceful yet? What if choosing yourself, just once, could change everything? If this message touched something in your heart today, I invite you to let it live beyond this video. Please give it a like, share it with someone who may need these gentle reminders, and don't hesitate to leave a comment. I'd love to hear your story, your thoughts, or simply how you're doing these days. And if you'd like more content crafted just for you, with heart and respect, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because your voice still matters. Your story still matters. And above all, you still matter. Thank you for being here.